Dear Switzerland, we need to talk. We need to talk about genocide. You know, that thing that we white Europeans did to 3 continents, basically eradicating their native populations in North America, most of South America, and in Australia. The thing that happened to the Armenians 100 years ago, that happened to the Jews 80 years ago, that happened to the Tutsis in Rwanda 30 years ago, and that's happening to the Palestinians right now. Because, Switzerland, you seem to be a little bit confused. On the one hand, you are the signatory to all and every kind of human rights treaty there is, like, for war and peace, like the Geneva Conventions. I mean, the thing's even named after one of your cities, right? But then, on the other hand, when an actual genocide is happening, when the worst atrocities and war crimes are happening, Switzerland, then you go silent. That's a bit confusing to me. 80 years ago, when the genocide against the Jews happened, the Holocaust, when the Germans mass slaughtered Jewish people, you even sent some Jews back to Germany arguing that the boat was full. That was your sentence. The National Bank, they even accepted gold tooth fillings from the victims of the Holocaust in exchange for Swiss currency that went to the German Reichsbank. It took you until the 1990s to just accept the fact that these mistakes happened and actually apologize for them. Now, you seem to be confused again at the moment. Because on the one hand, what we have seen a month ago in Israel, when 1,400 Israelis were killed, you condemned unequivocally Hamas and the violence. And you even put out a statement saying that you want Hamas to be labeled as a terrorist organization. In the meantime, Israel now has killed already more than 10,000 Palestinians, 4,000 of them alone children, as I speak to you on November 7th, today. And yet I am waiting for your condemnation. I am waiting for you to actually tell the world that the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF, are a terrorist organization. You know what you put out? You put out a statement calling on all parties to actually adhere to humanitarian law. Switzerland, look, the thing about genocide is that the people who are being genocided are not the ones to blame. There was this famous moment in 1943 in the Warsaw Ghetto when the Jews stood up and they fought back and they killed some of their German captors. Would you have asked for all parties in that moment in 1943 to keep humanitarian law? Switzerland, asking at the moment for everybody to keep humanitarian law is just a bit of a crazy move, because there is only one party that right now, as we speak, is still slaughtering the other party, okay? And repeating this Western talking point of Israel's right to self-defense, that doesn't make you look very good on the world stage, Switzerland. It just proves that you do not think on your own. Now, I must say, in your defense, you actually put out a statement calling for a ceasefire, or at least a humanitarian pause, and you voted alongside 120 countries in the UN General Assembly saying yes to that idea. I laud you for that. And you also argued that there should be that there will be 90 million Swiss francs in humanitarian aid for Palestine. And that's a very good thing, and I applaud you for that. But dear Switzerland, these 90 million Swiss francs for the Red Cross and Red Crescent movement, they're going to do quite little against the $14 billion that the United States just promised to Israel for more bombs and weapons to kill the very people that your 90 million Swiss francs are then supposed to somehow help again. Switzerland, what we need right now, what we really need, is somebody to speak out and to say, like, stop the madness, ceasefire now, immediately, and no discussions. And the Palestinians are the victims of genocide, and we need to stop this. Switzerland, there's a time to be confused, and there's a time to actually speak out. The time to speak out is now. You don't have to throw away your neutrality, you know? It is difficult to be a neutral at this time. But if you already have to basically be silent on the war crimes that are happening, then at least be silent for the benefit of the victims and not the benefit of the perpetrators. Try to help as much as you can, and try to actually convince the ones that are doing the genocide to stop it if you can. Now, dear Switzerland, please get your act together, and please, for once, stand up during genocide and say no to those who do the genocide, and not regret your inaction 20 years later. Oh, and dear National Bank, if in the next couple of weeks or months you should receive some gold tooth fillings from the Middle East, this time, just say no, okay? Thank you. With love, Pascal.